Welcome you to the council meeting for Tuesday the 19th of January and acknowledge that the land we meet on today is the traditional land for the Kaurna people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Adelaide region and that their cultural heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. So we do the council pledge. We seek wisdom and understanding as we face the duties of our united task, praying for the peace and prosperity of our city. Please take a seat. Welcome to the members of the gallery, including the gentleman I've just discovered is here from Devonport, Tasmania, who's here to pick up some tips about how a really great council runs itself. I presume that's the case, and perhaps take something home. Very, very welcome. And just remind people who are in the gallery who perhaps haven't been here before that this is being recorded, and as you all of us are aware, it goes up on the council website in about 2 or 3 days. So make sure that if you're going to be chewing something that you're not making noise at the same time, because it'll all show up on camera for ever. Now, do I have any conflicts of interest that members would like to declare under item 1.3 tonight?
Conflict of an interest?
Councillor Bowman?
I'm in the history group.
Interest in
13.1.
13.1?
Interest but not a conflict.
Yep. Remember the history group? Councillor Barnett?
Same for myself.
Same for yourself? I think the same for me. I think my membership's still financial. I'm not sure if anyone else is. Still on circulation. So, include me in there just in case, yeah. Thank you for that. On leave we have nil apologies. We have Deputy Mayor Gruge is on his way back from interstate, so he's going to be leaving sometime, well, I think he's on the ground, so he'll be here sometime in the next half an hour, I think. Can I have someone confirm the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council for Tuesday the 15th of December?
Move.
Councillor Lee, do you wish to speak to them?
Thank you.
We'll have a second to Councillor Harris, do you wish to speak to them?
No, thank you.
Any further debate? All those in favour? Against, that carried. Mayoral report is there for you on pages 1 and 2. Unless there are any questions, ask for someone to move that it be accepted.
So moved.
Councillor Lee, you wish to speak to it?
Thank you.
Seconder. Councillor Barnett, wish to speak to it?
No.
Any further debate? All those in favour? Against, it's carried. Verbal reports from council representatives on local government or community organisations. Are there any verbal reports tonight? No, being the case, petitions nil, deputations nil, motions of notice nil, questions with notice nil. Are there any questions without notice for tonight? Councillor Harris.
Yes, to yourself, Mayor. I just wondered, haven't had the opportunity to ask you the question that as our representative of Prospect, would we be writing to Auntie Josie's family on her passing? And as one of the elders of the Kaurna people that I am standing on, I feel we should, and hopefully in your busy schedule you intend to do it.
Thank you. I'm quite happy to do it. On that basis, yes, I'd write to the family for sure.
Thank you.
She has made a number of appearances here over the years. Not as many as some, but that doesn't mean she's not unimportant or unknown to us. In fact, there was a great story when she was here presiding over our Tour Down Under for the Kaurna greeting, I think in 2000, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, not the
I think so. Yeah, it was a very hot day. They all seem to be hot days. And she boldly declared to everybody that they had to wear sunscreen and hats because she didn't have that particular trouble as much, but everyone else should be very careful. And told everyone how hot a day it was. There was only one person who collapsed from heat stroke on the day. It was only Josie. But we were there, we caught it. Any other questions without notice? And there being none, protocol over the page. Does anybody wish to pull out item 13.1? On the report of Strategic Planning and Development Policies Committee? No? It's okay. Item 14.1, information report, I will withdraw, and item 14.2, the status report, I will withdraw for opportunity for questions. Does anybody wish to pull out item 17.1? Playground. They probably need to, because we've got a time frame in there and a couple of questions. Okay, thank you, Councillor Evans. So without any further ado, I'll ask someone to move on block. Someone to move on at 13.1. It's only one on block. Councillor Lee, if you hand up first. Then I think it was Councillor Barnett. There's no debate on item that's passed on block. All those in favour? Against, it's carried. Yeah.
Yes.
So members of the gallery, if you're here for that item tonight, you'll understand that we've just moved as per the recommendation in the papers, which is exactly what the committee came up with at the committee level. There'll be no further discussion on that item tonight, and you can understand that there seems to be unanimous solidarity around the position that the committee's recommended, so no wavering from that position. There are some items that we may be able to provide an update on, but I don't think any of significance that would change that item. So I'd rather when we get more info, we give you a memo to elect the members, and that can go beyond, of course. But just to point out, there'll be no further debate about that heritage item tonight. So you're more than welcome to stay for the balance of the meeting if you wish, but we won't be talking about that item. Okay, the information report on page 137. I've withdrawn it to enable questions to be asked. And I just want to note that I think these are excellent reports. This one in particular I found really, really interesting. It's packed full of all the activity that we do. Some great images in there, some terrific stories, and too many highlights for me to mention. But one that does stand out is the very nice award that the Rotary Club gave to our digital hub guru to acknowledge his hard work and his contribution to the community. I thought that was really lovely of them to do that. Didn't come from us. They've noticed what he's done, and they invited him to their meeting, and yeah, I thought it was lovely. So, any other questions that people have got about that report at all? Councillor Bowman?
Questions or comments?
I can take comments during the debate. Questions at this stage would be better.
The status report or just the information?
Just information.
Okay, I'll leave the other one for later. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? No? That's the case. If someone move the information report as presented.
Sorry. I just had a question rather than a comment.
Yeah, no questions is what I've asked for.
Just at the first bit about the parking.
Page.
Gee, that's usually me that says that. Sorry, 138.
138. Yep.
If you look at the year-to-date 593, whereas 890, basically another 4 or 5 more, is that because people are learning the park problem, or is it because is there another reason, or is it people learning to park properly and do those requirements?
Yep, I'll take the question, Director. Acting CEO. You do it where you want, Acting CEO.
Through the Mayor, and I can take that. Yes, it is. Education piece has been working, so there's a lot more people out there being compliant around the road regulations.
Which is good. Thank you.
Yep.
It's a wonderful thing. Great. Councillor Barnett.
Yes, on about community engagement, Council's strategic plan, just apropos of what we're talking about over tea tonight. I was just wondering, did we want to extend the end date that we actually had, like on the Survey Monkey? I think that was if we wanted to do further consultation. So just wondering, posing that as a question.
Okay. Director, do you want to provide an answer now, or we'll take it on notice?
Through the Chair, look, the decision to extend the end date is purely rests with the Council. From memory, I think it would need a resolution of sorts, because I believe there was an end date. Certainly the indicative time frame was adopted. So if you did want to extend it,
So I need something perfect to resolve. Yep.
So in general business?
I think just technically,
The rescission.
yeah, we've got the February meeting to deal with it if we need to, which is prior to the end of the survey period. So I'd rather that we give the staff a chance to tell us what they might do at that time should they need it. Yeah, that's okay. Yep. Another question on the report, Councillor Bowman?
Yeah, question. It's just on page 150 in regards to information for libraries. I noted that there's a decrease in borrowing, but I would like some information regarding residents' use of the one card online use. So, for example, magazines and lynda.com. There's a lot of people that maybe actually don't go through the library doors. So maybe just through the chair to ask the director.
So the question is there more data available through online users?
Yep.
Through the chair, no data at hand. I'd have to look into what the library can collect and what they are collecting beyond what's presented.
Yep. Okay, that'd be good to have. Thank you. If there's no further questions, ask someone to move the information report as presented. Councillor Harris, wish to speak to it?
No, thank you.
Got a seconder? Councillor Evans, wish to speak to it? Any further debate? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. The status report item 14.2, I also put out for questions and debate if needed. So are there any questions about any of these projects at this stage? Councillor Lee.
No, I'm flicking through my...
Questions? Yeah, it was just in regards to page 194, 196, and just in regards to actioning, and it says the total of overdue is 49%. I just want a bit of an understanding what that means.
Okay. 194, 196.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it's in the information report. Is that the question? Because that's...
Good.
I think it is.
If it's 196, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll let you ask that after the meeting closes. So for any staff...
Okay. No problem.
Sorry, we put you that item tonight. Any questions about capital or operating projects? Councillor Evans? Sorry, Councillor Bowman, you...
I even wrote the page numbers down today, so I'm improving. Page 203.
Okay.
Status report. Yep. It was just in regards to the inefficiency of the air sweeper system. So again, I just want a bit of an understanding around why we've got that variance.
Footpath sweeper.
Yes.
I just that it didn't do what we wanted it to do, but I'm happy to ask the acting director to answer that.
Just wondering if we're getting get the contractor that we got it from is giving our money back, or what's the
Sure. Yep.
under warranty or whatnot.
Yeah, through the chair. So we haven't actually purchased that one.
Oh, okay.
It took a number of trials in relation to picking up and being useful in terms of that's what we wanted it for, which was to provide us with a sweeping program to pick up the berries. But it was just, inefficient. Decided not to pursue that.
So, follow-up question from the chair. What are we going to do instead?
So at the moment we've got backpacks and we've got blowers, and we obviously manipulate and adjust the program according to the sweeper. It's not a problem at the moment. We just thought that it was going to be an improvement moving into the long-term sort of maintenance plan.
Okay, so we're still blowing footpaths to the curb, and then the street sweeper picks it up. Yeah, all right. Okay. Thank you. Any further questions on capital and operating? Sorry, Councillor Evans.
Just one for the Director, and it's more a status update. I did see it in the information report about our power line undergrounding works on Prospect Road. Just wondering if you could give us a quick summary of how that project's tracking. Didn't see it in the capital work schedule, but I think that's because it's treated outside of what we're looking at here. But I just thought to ask.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So stage 3 is obviously being all completed now. There's just some minor reinstatements happening around Telstra pits, but that's on the way in terms of completion very, very soon. You would have seen also a memo earlier on in the week in relation to the next stage, and that's obviously subject to budget deliberations later on as part of the next financial year.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Bunny.
And just in regards, I think page 209, one application had been received for the Heritage Grant Program, and I was just, maybe through the Chair, wanting to ask the Director what we're doing to improve the promotion. So even simple things like using the hashtag of the Prospect Local History Group or Residents Association, just to draw attention to the fact that grants are available.
It does sound extraordinary, doesn't it? We've got a little fund, it's not great, but
Understand.
we just can't get people to apply for it. So, Director, help us understand why we can't even give money away.
Through the chair, I have to take that on notice, unfortunately, as to whether or not we're doing anything different. I'm just trying to think in my own mind whether this is one that we open through rounds or whether it's open all the year round. If it's a round by round matter, we wouldn't be doing anything until the next round, but I couldn't be sure.
Perhaps a memo might be good.
Yes.
Just tell us process and how we're contacting people. I thought we wrote to every heritage property. There's not that many of them. Yeah, we did. Okay. Right, any further questions? Otherwise, ask someone to move it as it's presented. Councillor Evans, wish to speak to it any further? No. So I have a seconder. Councillor Harris, wish to speak to it? No, thank you. Any further debate? All those in favour? Yes, it's carried. Thank you. Now, so Councillor Evans withdrew the Memorial Gardens place space. Just a brief reason, Councillor.
Just so we can discuss it.
Okay, thank you. And did you wish to move it in its current form?
Yes, I'm happy to.
So just before you do, the only additional information I've got that may or may not be of interest is that the delivery lead time I'm advised is 3 months, and then installation on top of that. So it'd be 3 months and a couple of weeks before it's installed from date of order. So if we pass this tonight or something similar and it was ordered tomorrow, it won't be installed until very March, April, May. Just in time for May. Stuff that happens in May. So you might want to think about that. And I understand the financial impact is tolerable, although it eats into our cash position. So that's the choice that we make. So Councillor Evans, that's the information, extra information I have. Fire away if you wish to speak to it.
Just briefly, and I guess coming on to Council a year ago, I probably wouldn't have looked to move this, funnily enough. It is something, though, that I think Memorial Gardens is a loved place in our community. It continues to be used, being there over the summer period, being there at Carols by Candlelight. The new infrastructure we've put in is enjoyed by all. We do need to be prudent about it. I think we've got a master plan, we've got a range of priorities, and not wanting to escalate it over and above what it would call for, but in my view, spending an amount of $38,000 that's proposed now with subsequent budget bids in the following financial year, I think is reasonable. It would be good as well to see where we're up to in terms of the December quarter and if we are tracking favourably to budget variance. I would think we probably would be, just thinking about what we're doing in terms of our other capital works at the moment, and so I guess like myself, I'm fairly secure in our financial position, fairly secure in our ability to pay for $38,000 additionally in this financial year, understanding how much it is loved by the community and that the community in many respects is calling for this. I support the recommendation.
Thank you. So I answered a question about timing of the actual motion, whether your motion, Councillor Evans, as it is now, although it looks remarkably like staff's recommendation, it's now your motion. Do you need to put a time frame in to expedite it?
Well, if we've received advice that it can't be delivered shorter than within 3 months, I'm not sure what we'd be looking to achieve.
It's whether we put a time frame in to arrange forthwith or to
As soon as possible.
as soon as possible. I'm sure that's what the staff do, but whether you want to strengthen the motion in that sense, get it moving, up to you.
I'll propose it as it is, but happy to receive any amendments from any other.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Barnett, wish to speak to it?
Yes, it's just I think that was one of the major things that came about the junior play equipment or lack thereof. So I think the sooner we can get something in there to satisfy some of the feedback, from the public would be very good. Without wishing to stall any plans to install this and order as quickly as possible, I just wondering how some of the equipment gets chosen, whether it's through the chair, perhaps through a director, like the White Rabbit Springer. I know they do actually have a kangaroo one, and I was actually looking for a bunyip one, but on their thing. But yeah, I was just curious about how some of that equipment actually gets chosen, if it was recommendations from the public or those that have young children.
Yeah, good question. Who chose the feral best introduced, otherwise very cute rabbit for that theme? Perhaps Acting Director, you could help us with that.
So through the Chair, I haven't really been involved in that process. I understand that it came back to a workshop in relation to different stages and staging the whole project. Not sure if that was part of the discussion, so I wasn't at those particular meetings. But obviously a high level of consultation was undertaken. Whether or not that was included, I'd have to take that on notice.
Okay, thank you. from memory, it has been through a whole heap of consultation with kids in sticky notes, and I think we won an award for a director. Is that right? Yeah, we did.
Oh, all right. So I'll stand by that we're going to have the rabbit and not the kangaroo.
Put a sign saying it's actually a building. Not a rabbit.
Or even a wombat, our Australian.
Any further debate? The item that Councillor Bowman will work around.
Look, I have serious concerns about that sort of general process that was involved in this, because basically we took down in what I thought was a perfectly, and I could be corrected by the director, legal, relatively good condition play equipment. And the reason it was taken away was saying it was in the fall zone of the new swings. However, could the design not have been better to keep the original play equipment was there? Because arguably the equipment in St Helens, the original, I know there's been something added there, is actually in worse condition. And I think there seemed to be an assumption sometimes that things will just be funded, and I think that it seemed to be a bit quick that was taken down, just with the assumption that something was going to replace it. So I just want to question the process. Was it ever considered that original equipment could have been kept until something was funded instead of taking it down first?
Yeah, thank you, CEO.
Through the Mayor, the equipment is always assessed. It's assessed each year, and all equipment, play equipment in particular, does reach its end of useful life. And the designers are aware of that, and they do keep that in mind when they're planning the replacement of it. And that's exactly what happened with Memorial Gardens. It did reach a point where it's come to its end of useful life. If we did design the fall zones differently, then we would compromise the other installations which are coming in future stages. But it's not always a sure thing. All of these projects do come as a budget bid through the budget deliberation process for elected members to actually vote on or agree to. And through that process also plans are presented about what the vision is for those sites, as is on St Helens. At the moment we are going to engage in public consultation this Saturday, I believe it is, and what we'll be doing with the community there is presenting what the plans are, what the designer's vision are, and if the community agree with that. And the champions are invited to that. That is, the elected champions are invited to that also. So that's the beginning. So from that we get feedback, and that informs the designers of what they should put in the bid moving forward in the coming months through the budget deliberation process.
Okay.
Yes. So you're saying end of life. Did it have to be taken down, or was it a choice to be taken down? Like it could have gone for another couple of years, the play equipment?
Yeah.
Through the Mayor, we do. We maintain them, so it absolutely could have been maintained for the next couple of years. But the plan, the grand plan for that space was to remove it, because we knew, and it was agreed through some previous workshops, that it would be staged over 3 stages. There will be 3 stages, and Council was committed to that. And that's why they moved forward to removing that play equipment on that occasion.
Thank you. Further, Councillor Martin?
Yeah, just one more. I think I just want to be conscious that there's equity across the city and where we're spending our money on playgrounds. Thank you.
Councillor Lee?
The question was put to the Director, but I just want to have a little bit more information through the Chair about the bottom line, and if we put in a budget bid, how does that affect us financially?
Sorry, if we put in a budget bid to do this in the next financial
The variation. No, sorry.
Variation.
I was reading notes here and I went to the last question. So if we put in a variation now, how does that affect us financially for the current financial year?
Thank you. Rachel?
Through the Chair, because this is capital works, so it will not affect our operating results. So our operating result currently sitting at about 200,000 deficit, but budget review indicated that we are reducing that, so somewhat. So it will affect our cash budget. So right now we have a almost balanced cash budget, so this will put us $38,000 behind, which is a manageable amount.
So it has an impact, but
Correct.
it's a manageable impact.
Correct.
Okay. And just to absolutely clarify, the only urgency around this is that some people commented that it'd be nice to have little kids' equipment. Whoever directed that is.
Sorry, the reason that the report is before us today is I'm pretty sure we asked for it in response to some feedback that elected members have got. Acting CEOs, am I correct?
Through the Mayor, we did receive from some residents a sentiment of disappointment that the third stage wasn't installed. And in that, I believe Councillor Mark Groot brought it to Council and called for a report on bringing those items forward, the installation of that play equipment forward.
Yeah, for our position.
Yeah.
Councillor circling up there.
Yeah. Well, just in terms of how close it is to budget bids, how close it is to the next financial year, I won't be supporting this. I don't see an urgency for it. I don't think we should be affecting our bottom line. I understand the community's concerns and elected member concerns, but I do, and also the fact that, as you alluded to, that we are coming into a winter period, so I'm quite comfortable to wait until budget bids and then start the process through there and wait for installation and then play in a more appropriate time of the year.
And probably just to clarify, if we've got into a budget bid process, it would be ordered on the 1st of July, because I know it seemed linked to action, 1st of July, which would mean it would be installed in July, August, September, halfway through October.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, just to clarify. I had a couple other people wanted to speak. Councillor Larwood.
I think what I'm about to say may have already been said before, but I'll say it anyway. I'm thinking along the same lines as Councillor Bowman. I'm embarrassed by the state of disrepair of the playground at St Helens Park. I'm pretty sure I remember playing on some of that equipment when I was about 6, which is a long time ago. I can't see how we could have such a disparity with things falling apart, things not having been working at St Helens Park probably up to 5 years, I think. The seesaw, or the lack of one spring saw, has recently been improved significantly by some do not use tape that's doubled its value and its visual appearance. And I don't see why there is such a rush to put some more money into something which is pretty awesome already. I think it could be a case of taking a bit of a breath and saying, well, let's have a look at a bit of a parity across the city situation. So whether I'm misguided or not is up to the opinion of the people around the table and also actually around the world. It's being recorded, but I don't think I'll be supporting this motion either.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Harris.
Yes. 2 minutes. I just got a couple, and I've got my pages, 215 and then 218. 215 page that's regarding this, and this is, we get extra money, and the director explained that, to get the extra. But here on 5.2 on page 215, it says the equipment required will be sourced from other project budgets, which is different to me than adding another lot of money.
Okay, well, that's good. Let's get that clarified.
So I can answer that one.
Yeah, so is it a variation or is it a reduction?
Page 215.
Yeah, I'll put that to you, Acting CEO. Is it a reduction spending on playground? Because we have a very big playground budget this year.
Through the Mayor, no, it is not a reduction. That is clearly a typo. It will be a variation through the third budget review.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So no reduction in the program elsewhere. Thank you. Councillor Harris.
That's a good typo mistake. So then if I go to 218, and 218 is the stage 3, which I assume was the next stage. So, but we go down to the play equipment. We got this, for excuse for a kangaroo, we got a white rabbit for $4,000 and a flower table for $3,000, and the other is what I've got a picture here of, children's play equipment. It's the difference. Can I ask what the, because it's on this page, the 40 $45,000 one is?
Play equipment.
I'll just get clarity, welcome. Mine, can you
Trying to get this through.
Point 6, play equipment,
Could go to the
supply and install grass insects or something, grass Texandic.
Grass is start. Sounds like German.
So to start with, just tracing what you're talking about. It's on the spreadsheet.
Right.
Yep.
So now I'm a bit confused. There's a 4 and a 3 got the frog. The frog is there. Frog. The rabbit is there. The table's there. This is in the next sort of program of it. There's something that's 45,000 and not this 38 or whatever the breakdown is of that 4, 3, the 32,000. So I'm a little bit confused. What equipment's what equipment?
Yeah, thank you.
I'll give it a go. Yeah, look, through the chair, I believe that the junior play equipment consists of those 3 photos. Now, Spill Art, I think that's how is the brand.
Right.
And then that brand obviously has got different equipment under it, so they're the different line items. As far as the junior play equipment, what I've led to believe, it's those 3 photos that we're looking at installing, equivalent to those 2 on page 216.
So that's what's up there. That money is those 3 things. So that will come out of the next one, the 3 and the 4. 4 and the 3. But there's still something for 45,000.
Yes, so remember that this particular recommendation is for one part of stage 3. This will not get you all of stage 3. This is only the junior play equipment.
What's the balance?
Off the top of my head, I cannot answer that, but there is a balance. I think in the report it stipulates if you want to bring the whole stage 3 forward, it's in the order of about $100,000. But what we're talking about here is a portion of that, which is only those 3 bits of equipment.
You're almost there, I think, to what I was saying. So the bottom line of stage 3 is 194. So the new bottom line would sort of be less 38,000.
That's correct. That's exactly right, Councillor Harris.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I've just my brief speech to it at the moment. Oh, didn't see Councillor Brody. My brief speech. I'm a little bit cautious.
Not 2 minutes off your speech.
I'm a bit cautious of winter time coming. Another piece of equipment, and the great thing, particularly the music that comes there, we're starting to slowly restricting some of the people that just want to sit on the ground. So at this moment I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'll wait to maybe hear other speakers. So my personal view is I'm a bit more holding off because we'll have winter equipment and it's better to play in mud and into the next season.
Thank you. Can I just, you've got me confused now because you're right, on the schedule item 6, it does have the
Rabbit and the
rate of start modified to C136 at 45,000. So I'm just concerned about what we are being asked to vote on here because there's no specification in the motion which just says Spiel Art Junior Play Equipment. Is it the same and we've got a much better deal, or is it a different item of play equipment that's being included in this resolution? I think it's a really important question and I'm not quite sure we've got clarity on. How something that's 45 become 38. Can anyone help us with that?
Through the chair, look, I think that's actually part of priority 3. And in terms of how the breakdown is being broken down, it's something that we'll need to have a look at. But I reckon that it's part of the construction in terms of the arbors, the design of the gola, and the lighting as well. But I'm happy to come back to elected members with a memo.
We've got a live motion, acting director, so since you're going to write that memo right now.
Can do.
We've got a bit of a logistics problem.
Yeah.
See that?
Traffic count.
Although, and I believe that that schedule was just
Even voted as well.
and I'm absolutely sure that the design has been very top quality.
Sorry, variation.
So just behind the scenes, the acting CEO is pointing out that the schedule on attachment 3 at the top says it's a cost estimate and says that all prices are indicative only. Some prices seem very, very precise, like bulk $644, but a number for play equipment probably does look like a budget number. I'm going to assume, for the benefit of Councillor Evans' motion, that what's described in the 38,000 is in fact the Brazil lamp modified C136, and it is what's in the photograph. So I'm going to assume that's the case. If it's not the case, that the staff will come back and ask us to rescind the motion and pass something else. Okay, that's what I'm going to assume.
Can I just ask?
So can I do question to you?
So the equipment we're talking about is the one that's in, the piece of equipment, the one we're talking here, that is saying $45,000. You're saying it could be right, could be wrong. But it is the piece of equipment that's here for $45,000.
I'm saying from the Chair, for the purpose of this motion, if you wish this motion to be considered, that is the piece of equipment that we're being asked to vote on, and it's just at a better price, because the schedule says it's an indicative price.
$17,000 better.
No, that would be $7,000 better.
Yeah,
15% better.
I make it sound.
Of course, I'm in the hands of the members. If you have some doubt about that, you're not confident, then don't vote for something you're not confident about. I'm suggesting a way through it is that the acting CEO has told us that that is the case. We assume that is the case, and if it's not, that he resolves some remedy next meeting. Alternatively, someone can move to defer, or you can vote it down. They're your options, members. There was somebody else who wished to speak? Sorry, no one here. Councillor Group.
I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Apologies, I'm late. So I'm probably going to go over some old ground. Apologies for that. So, because I had some questions which sound like Councillor Harris was also raising. So, just picking up on that thread, it's the modified 136 and the White Rabbit Springer that are in the $38,000 budget. That's correct.
That's how our motion is written.
So, the other issues, the other items under the play equipment, the talking tube, the softball mulch, that's just been excluded. The baking flour table, they're excluded. The reason I asked this, and Councillor Lee pointed this out to me, the subtotal is 58,000, which is very close to 38,000. Someone's handwriting something and adding it up. It could very easily be a typo. And I just am a little bit nervous about, I've spoken to somebody that we actually come back and rescind. I think that would be very embarrassing.
It would be.
And so it would be good. My preference would be to defer a vote to make sure the amounts are accurate. That being said, I asked for the report to come to council because I am concerned about it, and people have raised it with me. I'm also keen to do a resolution to it. Just given that there's a number of 58,000 on the page and there's a number of 38,000 in the report,
Lay on the table.
it kind of feels to me that it might be worth having another look before we vote on it.
Can I ask the acting CEO or the acting director to provide any more light on this, or are you still a bit uncomfortable in locking yourselves in?
Or we just don't vote on it at all.
It looks like discomfort to me. So, a move to adjourn is still within your ability, Councillor Group.
Yep, and I might take that opportunity up in a minute, but I have another question. It's just in terms of the financials. So let's work on the basis of 38,000 at this point. Just a question for the Director of Corporate Services. In terms of our capacity to absorb this in the budget bid, would you be able to give us some indication? I understand there are some understandings this year and that it is possible to do a small amount in a way that's not going to impact too significantly on the bottom line. This might be cut, apologies.
We had exactly that question and we received exactly that answer. I'm happy for the Director to give a brief one just for your benefit. Given that you put this item to Council.
Through the Chair, there's no impact to our operating result, but there is 38,000 unfavorable in our funding, in our cash result.
Yeah.
That is the amount that is manageable.
And a favourable Springer in the playground, which is offsets the unfavourable amount, I'm sure. Look, I will move for deferment until next meeting so that the figures can be considered and we can come back to Council in February. I'm not sure what else I need to do beyond that, Mr Mayor, but I'll let you...
You're the only one that...
So adjourn the item to the February Council meeting to enable some further clarity. Just to remind members, there are a couple of options here. We don't often have a deferral or adjournment motion. You can vote to adjourn, or you could vote to say no, or just want to vote it down now. That is your choice, just so you're aware of that. Usually people vote to adjourn. So.
If we vote it down, that means we have to have a decision.
Further to clarify, under the Act and under our rules, if we adjourn, I keep a record of who has already spoken, and there's only one person who hasn't spoken, who I presume is about to second the deferral motion. That doesn't deem you to have spoken, this is a formal motion, but we will pick up the debate in February with no one else being able to speak other than perhaps to continue Councillor Group's excellent speech. You probably had about 45 minutes.
I've still got about 3 minutes, haven't I?
And Councillor Standard, and then return to Councillor Evans as the mover. So that is the restriction of adjourning formally an item. So just so you're aware of all those things. Okay. So it's been moved as an adjournment.
Can we answer a question then?
I'll take a brief question.
Yeah, the brief question is then almost what you said. So if we done the alternative and just voted against it, it'd have to come again and then we can all speak.
Yes, you could vote it down and it could be represented, that's my understanding. As your government, that's correct, yeah. And then you can open up the debate entirely. Okay, Councillor Stanton, you are happy to second? To speak to a formal motion, thank you. Yeah, I can speak to it briefly. No. Okay.
No, that's it.
Oh, that's cool. That's okay.
Did you do your module?
So that is a formal motion has been put. It gets put immediately to the floor. So all those in favour of adjourning to the next meeting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those against adjourning? 3. It is thus adjourned. Thank you. To February, and I'll keep notes of where we're at here.
That'll be a big discussion.
Can I have the opportunity?
Yes, have the opportunity.
We
Load them
can't.
up, maybe.
We can't.
I'll take questions from you guys. You can't speak. I'll stop.
Okay. Thank you. If you're here, any members of the gallery, if you're here for the big playground discussion, any more tonight. Now we'll move on to, and thank you staff, if you could please clarify that in every regard. I think there are a couple of questions there that are important. Just to sum up, it's 58 been typoed to 38. Also, the items mentioned in the schedule under item 6 are different to the items mentioned in the recommendation you put to us. So if you could clarify both of those couple of things, that would be super for the next meeting. So I presume we'll get that in the form of the report for the next council meeting.
Oh, for the Lord's sake. What is wrong with this thing tonight?
Yeah, I'll get you information to that by memo. Yeah. Okay, so item 18, council reports, sorry, we're past that, 1920, council diary. To note, we've got the Twilight concerts coming up for every Friday in February, obviously, and the Prospect Fair coming up on Saturday the 19th of March. Sorry, I advised you before it's the 12th, but it's the 19th at St Helens Park. Turned it into a golf course by the look of it, that's very good. That must be a typo, you can see that. Item 20.5. And there's a gallery opening which is not listed here, which is coming up on Sunday week. There is one, so you might put an email out just to clarify that. General business, are there any items of general business? Councillor Barnett.
I think I spoke before about extending the consultation period for the council's draft strategic plan, so that it could include on March the 19th the Prospect Fair. So I will move that the council's consultation period
strategic plan
for the draft strategic plan be extended to 5 p.m. on March the 19th. Is it the 19th?
When's the fair?
The fair is the 19th of March.
The week after.
Or if, through the chair, if there's another better date.
I'll just ask if there's a more sensible date, since at the end of the weekend would probably make no difference, but it's just 24 hours. Director, you have a view on that?
No issue either way.
No issue either way, so happy as standing there. Enables information to be collected at the fair, obviously.
Yes.
Further to it, Councillor?
Just that those are at tea. We thought that we had a quick report back from the consultation that happened at the terrific fair, and that seemed to be went very well. And so it was thought that we could replicate that consultation to the Prospect Fair and just get furthermore feedback.
Thank you. Could I just ask through the chair, me as the chair, will that extend the time frame with which we'll send the report, which I presume was going to be March? Will that change that, Director?
Through you, yes.
Change it to which?
Depending on our agenda timeframes, it's probably going to be, I think it would be okay for the April meeting, given our meetings at the end of the month. Just, I guess, bear in mind that we have a draft strategic plan, as you know. We're going into the budget process. Ideally, you would have an adopted strategic plan. The delays may or may not be a hindrance, but that's for your consideration.
So your advice is that we won't be able to meet the March cycle. This will make it an April cycle instead.
Certainly would.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Barnett, did you wish to speak any further to?
Yes, and also I just wish to check that consultation period would include extending the Survey Monkey consultation that we have on the website.
Sorry, Director.
Through you, absolutely you can.
Yeah, you can. And do you need any further in the motion to make sure that it does? It's a key question. Or just be assumed that
I do not.
You don't? He's happy with that? Do you have a seconder? Councillor Stan, who should speak to it?
Yes, briefly, I think if we're extending the Survey Monkey period, we probably should take it past Saturday 19th so that people who are engaged at that event can actually have time to do stuff online. So whether that's another week, and if we're not taking it to the March, if we're not bringing the report back to the March meeting, there seems to be no problem with doing that. So I would add another week onto that date. That would be my recommendation. Just for the Survey Monkey part.
So we should discuss that with your mover before you made that comment as a seconder.
I didn't know she was going to do it.
Mover, are you happy to incorporate that date change?
Yes, just depending on what the date that the director thinks is suitable. So
the 26th would be next Saturday. You might as well make it the 27th if it's the April meeting. It's not going to, sorry, Director, is that going to make a difference?
Yeah, look, it may start to get tight through you in the the time frames, that is.
Thank you very much. Just clarifying that.
Bearing in mind, depending on the level of responses we get, it's likely that we bring this matter to a workshop. And therefore, if there was a workshop in April, we would be looking at a May meeting of Council for an adoption of a strategic plan. Part of the original timeline that was presented back in sort of October-ish, when we started this strategic plan journey, there was talk that we've done a lot of consultation up front, so let's just do it 6 weeks now. That was, I guess, what was discussed and tabled and thought of at the time. Look, I have no objections, don't get me wrong, to doing additional consultation. I can continue that for months. We can do it at every event. But it's just a matter of when we want a plan.
Just after the impact from you, thank you. So there is a risk that extending it by a week will push it to May, a risk but not confirmed. So
I'm happy to go either way.
yes,
on Mayor's movie, you wish to change your motion?
Having advice from various quarters that the 23rd of March might be more suitable, because we do have to allow staff time to tabulate all the results and get the report and all that. So I think if people are at the fair on Saturday and they want to quickly go and do it, well then hopefully that would be not seen to rush them too much. So
okay, so you're modifying your motion to the 23rd of March.
which is a
We're
wedding.
happy to for clarity and transparency and governance. I'm going to seek leave of the meeting to incorporate the change into that motion. All those in favour of incorporating the change? Thank you. That's incorporated. Seconded, you were just speaking further.
No, I think it's great.
Any further debate? Councillor Harris and then Barker.
Mine is, I'm going to let you know that I'm going to support it, tidy, and but just hopefully then the staff takes on board tonight when we had early discussion to perhaps look at the Twilight concert as well. And apart from that, I'm going to support it.
Thank you. Councillor Barker.
Just a couple of things. Just if there's obviously resources and costs associated with it, which haven't really been discussed, with resourcing after hours staff and that kind of thing.
Sorry, that's a question you wish to put?
To the Director of Communications, through the Chair.
I'll take the question and the appropriate director will answer. But James Hewson.
Yes, look through you. Out of hours work hasn't been budgeted. We can shuffle schedules and try to minimise that impact. But the short answer is no, it hasn't been budgeted for that type of extension.
So that just having it at the Prospect Fair would present an impact on hours at least. Is that what you're implying?
Look, on the face of it, yes. However, we can shuffle schedules and give a Wednesday off or something like that in lieu and see if we can minimise that. Saturday payment is different to a weekday payment
Sure, it's done.
under our enterprise agreement.
Thinking so perhaps on the dollar figure budget. But
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to consider it because I think, again, just extending it is great. Bearing in mind there is an impact on that. The other alternative is you finish the consultation. Would you actually be able to present it as an education? This is the strategic plan at the fair, or wouldn't have gone to council at that point?
Timing-wise, Director, if we don't approve this motion, the consultation was finished, what then would we present at the fair? That's a good question.
Through you have to remind me of what the end date initially
28th
was. 28th Feb. We may have at least workshopped in March the outcomes of the consultation to that point. Whether we have a reshaped document, it'd be hard to say, but we could certainly take, here's what we heard. Do we hear any last minute thoughts? We could potentially do something along those lines.
So a feedback session rather than a listening session.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That would be the effect, not moving this. So do you have any further speakers to this motion? In the case, back to Councillor Barnett, if you were to sum up.
No, just I think it seems that quite many of our staff seem to be already involved at the Prospect Fair, so hopefully it won't disturb too much of the council's rostering and those sorts of facts. So I just commend people to move it, support it.
Thank you. All those in favour? Yes, it is carried. It's pretty clear. Thank you, Councillor Barnett. Any other items of general business? No, to be the case, any items of general business of an urgent nature? No, we'll move on to that one pretty quickly. We're on to item 23, confidential items. There are nil. 24 is to close the meeting. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, members, directors, members of the gallery, for your interest. The meeting is closed.